Welcome back. 2 weeks from tonight, it's Joe Macy up against David Izon at Buffalo's HSBC Arena. And the fight will be televised nationally on ESPN2's Friday Night Fights. Now, if you've seen that show, you've seen the work of Max Kellerman, ESPN's boxing analyst, the man considered to be the preeminent expert on the sport. Eyewitness Sports reporter Joe Major had a chance to talk with Max Kellerman and get a view from outside Buffalo on Joe Macy.
I guess the first thing, you've seen Joe Macy several times on Friday Night Fights. Assess him as a heavyweight contender.
I don't know that Joe Macy is a heavyweight contender, meaning top 10 guy. He's a good puncher, fights with a lot. Well, in the first place, all you can ask from a fighter is that they train as hard as they can, come in and give 100%. Macy does that every time out, which is why he's a favorite of mine. We love having him on Friday Night Fights. He makes very exciting fights, partly because he's still a little bit too easy to hit. So the question about a contender is, if you mean top 10, no. He hasn't done enough to be ranked ahead of every other heavyweight in the world except 10 other guys. But is he a top 20, 30-ish contender right now? Yeah, he's probably in the 20s or 30s somewhere right now.
Macy's promoter, Ray Leonard, says that Macy will be heavyweight champion of the world in about a year and a half. Is that statement more hype than substance?
Yes. the short answer is yes. Macy's never going to be heavyweight champion. And you know something? If he's out there watching, or people who root for him is out there watching, I hope I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. It'd be great to have a guy like that as heavyweight champ because he comes in shape and fights hard all the time. But realistically, you know, you see a nice, is Shane Spencer going to lead the league in batting average? You know, it's kind of the same thing.
The big knock on Macy is his competition. Who does he need to fight to kind of legitimize the hype surrounding him?
Well, I mean, I could rattle off 10 guys who he could fight, but he'd be, you know, a heavy underdog against. The top guys in the world, Lennox Lewis is the champion. There's Vladimir Klitschko, Chris Bird, Evander Holyfield, Hasim Rahman, Kirk Johnson, John Ruiz. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. There are a lot of guys before you get to Macy. But again, with baby Joe Macy, it's not about where he's ranked in the world realistically. And of course, what is his promoter going to say? And you know what? His promoter might believe it. He's convinced himself of it. But that's not what it's about. With Macy, it's about an exciting fighter with a big hometown following, puts 10,000 people in the seats in Buffalo to watch a fight. You know how few fighters throughout the entire country can put 10,000 people in the seat anywhere in the biggest cities in the country? Almost nobody else. Very, very few guys can do that. So it's about watching this hometown fighter with a huge following make great action fights. I mean, that's what the Joe Macy story is about.
You talked about the hype surrounding Macy in the Western New York area. Macy is a handsome, white heavyweight. If he was black, do you think that much hype would be paid to him?
No. No, absolutely not. But you know, it's not only that, it's an ethnic thing. In other words, you can be a white fighter from the middle of the country, nowhere not. But if you are Italian or Irish or Jewish, or you have an ethnic following there, especially when you tie that to a hometown, and you know what? All those things could be true, and then you're just a boring fighter. Even if you're a lot better than Joe Macy, people don't want to watch you. Joe Macy makes great action fights. I can't say that enough. And that's why people love to watch him, and we love to have him on Friday Night Fights.
You have a crystal ball, and Macy goes to his ultimate potential. What is that as far as you see it?
I think Macy fits in with guys like Cliff Etienne in the heavyweight division. Just, you know, Etienne's another guy, the Black Rhino, who, by the way, has made some good paydays on national television, fighting some good fighters. Whether he wins or loses, it doesn't matter. And there's a black fighter who has at least a TV following because he makes the, you know, just great action fights. That's Tyson's next opponent. Made for Tyson. Tyson's going to blow him out. But Etienne is the most exciting heavyweight in the world, win or lose. And Macy fits in with guys like Etienne, though he has not accomplished what Etienne has accomplished in his career so far. But if he maximizes his potential, he can fit in with those second-tier, lower echelon contender types who, you know, who everyone is salivating to see fight.
The fight in 2 weeks will be Joe Macy's 7th appearance as a pro on national TV. What about Macy's opponent, David Izon? Who is this guy? When we return, we'll take an in-depth look at Izon and answer the question, why has he been in the ring just twice over the last 2 years?